Formula Renault Race 2 coming up at Spa-Francorchamps. The cars making their way round to the grid, and everybody eagerly hoping that today goes a little better than yesterday, because we only got half a race, we only got half points because the race had to be red flagged, partly because there'd been an accident that brought out the safety car, but then the heavens absolutely opened and drivers were reporting that track conditions were just too bad. So we've got the cars on the grid. David Addison trackside, Gemma Scott is on the grid, and an early task for Gemma, I think, is going to be to do some tyre spotting, because as I look down from the Erie overlooking the grid, lots of the cars have come to the grid on wets and look to be changing on to slick tyres. So I think they're going to be a bit brave to begin with, but the road has been drying out fairly rapidly, and it could be a dry road come the very end. Let's go to the grid. Gemma is there, and she's found Stefan Rattel.
Stefan, it's the start of a very long day for us here at Spa, and of course the weather already giving us a few challenges, but great to see these young guns out and ready to go.
Yeah, we're very happy. We're very happy to have to have the Renault Formula with us. I think it's a very good partnership. We welcome young drivers, and once upon a time we had a super racing weekend that was bringing together Renault Formulas, that was bringing together GT and touring car, and we have this weekend, and it's good. And the weather is not too bad considering we're in October. We don't see much the difference with the usual weather we have at the end of July, so it's about the same.
And of course, to see these drivers here, as many of them now have graduated through this particular championship of Renault Eurocup and are racing in the endurance 24-hour race.
Yes, of course. I mean, we have a lot of young drivers. You know, the time where GT racing was a gentleman driver sport is long way past, and now we have a lot of young drivers, and it's great they graduate. You know, some of them will graduate all the way to F1, some other will go to prototype, some other are in GT, and it's very competitive, so it's very good.
And it's going to be an interesting race here because there is some moisture still in the air. The track is still looking a little wet, but the cars are all changing onto slicks.
I think they're safe on slicks. I haven't seen any rain for today, so it should be just a bit of drizzle. Should be okay. Slick will do.
We'll take your word for it. Thank you, Stefan.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
It does take you back, this. Stefan is right, because in the old super racing weekend days, we had GT, we had touring cars, and Formula Renault, both the, what was then V6 car, as well as the 2-litre. It was always a good package, and it's nice that Renault Sport has been a regular part of our GT World Challenge Europe events, not just this year, but last season as well, and an increasingly strong partnership, which is really good to see. The point about slick tyres is well made by everybody on the grid. Looking at this, everybody now that I can see is on the slick Hankook rubber. The road has been drying out over that previous race, and in this 50th season of Formula Renault, let's hear from Tarek Al-Said, the sporting manager of Renault Sport.
Tarek, it's great. The competition is, as ever, super close. Victor Martin starting on pole. Do you think he'll command this race?
Well, we're in Spa. Anything can happen. We saw yesterday, every time we have perfect Spa condition. The track is wet, it's drying up, so some of them are going with slick tires now, so that's going to be pretty good to watch what's going to happen.
Well, it was certainly a swimming pool yesterday by the end of the race, so fingers crossed it stays dry.
Yesterday was, as I said, typically Spa weather. You never know what's going to happen, and we had this yesterday. Hopefully today is going to stay dry and drier.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fingers crossed it stays dry and gets even drier. This race, therefore, should get faster and faster as the road dries, unless we have more rain coming, because although the last race for the GT4 cars that we've just had here at Spa was dry ink, towards the end of it, cameramen were reporting spots of rain once more, and as you've just heard, at that point, you can't go far at Spa without a bit of rain, and in October, you wouldn't put your money on it not being wet at some stage, would you? So then, there is the grid, all those flashing lights are the rain lights that must be on. It's one of the regulations when the road is damp. I'm just looking down onto the grid. Looks like there might be one car missing, in fact. Nicola Marinangeli's car, is it there? Let's have a look. Or have we had a change to the grid? The cars are good to go. But as the field accelerates away in a moment, I think we may have had an amended grid, because they have lined up in a somewhat different format. Keep an eye to that as the cars get away. Petr Potacek at the rear of the grid. Laszlo Toth gets away, but it looks to me as though there might be one car missing from that, and the grid that they had lined up in is not the grid that was the final grid offered from the timing team earlier on, so plot thickens there. Ah, there is a gap. There it is. Rasha Dejeris is in the pit lane, and he would have been on the 8th row, so he's in the pits. That was the car that was very badly damaged yesterday. You can see the different colour of bodywork at the rear, almost like the car is still being finished from a rebuild. But even with that in the pits, I'm still not convinced everybody had lined up in the right way. So there's somebody else, I think, missing, which is why the grid has shuffled around. Or we've had a grid drop for somebody that's put them out of sequence. We'll check in a moment as the car will get back onto the line, but it will be Victor Martins who lines up on pole position. 9 pole positions he has now had. Franco Colapinto lining up with him at the front of the grid. The second row is going to be Caio Collet, who is 3 times a winner, chasing championship leader Victor Martins. Amaury Cordial lining up with him ahead of Belgian driver Hugo de Wilde and Hadrien David, who is 6th on the grid, the Frenchman. 7th is Cas Havercourt, and lining up 8th fellow Dutch driver Tijmen van der Helm in the FA racing car. Then it is William Alatallo. Alongside him is his teammate David Vidales. Next on the grid, Paul Aron ahead of Alex Quinn, with Gregoire Saucy and Rasha Dejeris next, although Dejeris is starting from the pit lane. Nicola Marinangeli next with Petr Potacek for company. Laszlo Toth completes the grid, and there is one missing. It is Lorenzo Colombo, who has withdrawn from the event. He was still shown on this grid, but he has withdrawn from the event. He did qualify, but was then feeling under the weather, not with anything sinister or COVID related, but just with his sinuses and pretty severe nosebleeds, so he was advised not to race, and that's a real shame because Lorenzo Colombo has been a quick driver. So there the cars head up through Blanchimont. The cars into the bus stop with Victor Martins, now 6 times a winner, starting on pole position. He's the championship leader, the championship after yesterday's race, now putting him on 235 points to the 214 of Caio Collet. And Franco Colapinto, yesterday's winner, a bit frustrated to say the least, because he only got half points for it, because it was red flag at the halfway mark, so half points, but there was just no real option for the race officials. So there are the cars slotting into place. The grid is formed, and we look to see whether Rasha Dejeris will be able to start from the pit lane. That is where he is currently. The cars all on the grid. It's going to be a 30-minute race plus 1 lap. So lots of track time as ever for the Formula Renault Eurocup field. The lights will go out now. Away they go. And who makes the best start? Victor Martins gets the power down as they all scrabble for grip a little bit. Colapinto does not get a good start, and he's been absolutely gobbled up by the field. Martins locks up as they go into La Source, then discovering where the grip may or may not be. Way out wide there looks to be Cas Havercourt. But as they plunge downhill for the first time, it is Martins in the lead. Hugo de Wilde is up in the 2nd place. The Belgian driver has made a really good getaway from the 3rd row. Caio Collet comes up to challenge him as they drop into Eau Rouge for the first time, but Martins has already pulled a bit of a gap. Climb the hill, off the road again is Colapinto, way the wrong side of the track limits there. The field now powering uphill as to the outside line. Alex Quinn, the British driver, tries to make a move against David Vidales. Here they come then now into Les Combes, and Victor Martins trying to weave around, but Hugo de Wilde all over the back of him. Now, is de Wilde on wet tyres, I wonder, because he's been able to make such a confident start, looking as though he might have more grip than anybody. Yes, he's got the race lead. So there, Hugo de Wilde up front as he heads down the hill. Now, that was possibly the right gamble, if I'm right in saying he's on wet, but he seems to have grip that nobody else does. So de Wilde, if anybody knows Spa weather, it's a Belgian driver, cabs out of Bruxelles, downhill then. Is this the gamble? Build your lead early on and then look after the tyres, preserve that gap. Let's see. Everybody else working towards the end of the race, maybe, where the track conditions are expected to be drier. But as they come now down towards Bruxelles, Kyle Collett there under attack. They swing their way out of Rouen and then on towards the pit path once again. Another one that has gone into the pits is Paul Aron, so he is missing from the grid. If he starts, it will be from the pits, but I just wonder whether that's a mechanical drama, but whether it's for tyres. To the outside line, Alex Quinn has a go against Vidales, gets run up wide on the outside of the curbing there, as the cars then now accelerate their way up towards Blanchimont for the first time. There is William Alatallo in the JD Motorsport car, pressing on as well. So he, too, making progress. There is Alex Quinn up on the inside of Vidales. The way that the end of lap 1 order is going to be nothing like the grid certainly suggests that those that are making progress are on a wet tyre and others are on slicks. Victor Martins has just about been able to hold on, but it looks as though it's wets for example, Alatallo in the blue livery, the Finnish driver coming up towards the end of lap 1 then. So over the timing line, Hugo de Wilde leads the way. Victor Martins is second, William Alatallo is up to third. Fourth is Quinn, fifth is Vidales, sixth is Havercourt, who's under investigation for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. So Tamas Scheckter, the race director, turns to the stewards, headed by Steve Stringwell, the British official, and says, "Oi, have a look at this for me, will you?" And the brains trust of the stewarding team will decide whether that was legit or whether it was gaining an advantage. Paul Aron is, by the look of it, not going to get into the race. He's still in the pit lane and has therefore lost a lap. Meantime there, number 73, Tijmen van der Helm, keeping Gregoire Saucy at bay. So Hugo de Wilde leads the way. William Alatallo up on the inside line. Behind him, Alex Quinn. So I think we can say that they're on wets, aren't we? Because they have found so much more pace over the opposition. Victor Martins snakes through behind. Then you've got David Vidales. Now, where was Vidales on the grid? He was a long way back as well, wasn't he, on the 5th row? So I think he's another driver that's elected to go onto wet tyres. So Cas Havercourt all over the back there as he comes then down into Bruxelles. Look at those that are struggling. Kaya Collett dropping down the order all the time as the field now turns out of Speaker's Corner. So 30 minutes is a long time to preserve the tyres. Hugo de Wilde wants to use them as best he can now to build up the gap, but he doesn't want to take so much life out of them that they stop working towards the end, and that tipping point is going to be really interesting. Martins is going to be the one to watch in a sense, number 92, the championship leader, because on his slicks, for how much longer will he be prey to those on the wets? When his lap times start to be quicker than those ahead of him, then we know that the slicks are coming into their own. Round the outside goes David Vidales. Another place about to be gained here. The Spanish driver lines up for the inside coming into Campus. Cas Havercourt also for MP Motorsport tries to get up the inside. Martins gets forced out wide. The slicks can work. You can see that as they've got temperature now. They're working on a cold and damp circuit, but not as well as the wets. The next one to challenge is going to be Tijmen van der Helm as they come into the fast left of Blanchimont. And this is a bit of a toughie on slick tyres, knowing exactly how hard you can push. But Hugo de Wilde still leads the way up front. He won last year, round 1, Monza, hasn't had a win since. So it's been a long time coming if he is on target for a victory here. So over the timing line they go. Hugo de Wilde it is up front, and his margin is 3.7 seconds over Alex Quinn, the British driver. Alex Quinn into second place now. So Alex started, what, 12th on the grid. So it's been a very, very good run for him. De Wilde has got the fastest lap of the race. So again, gamble on your wets early. Try and make progress up the order. There, David Vidales versus Cas Havercourt, who's being looked at, remember, for his incident at the very start. Down through Eau Rouge, up through Radion comes Vidales. This is 4th and 5th you're looking at. Vidales ahead of Havercourt. Then it is Tijmen van der Helm in 6th place. So it's almost a reverse grid race. Those that have gambled coming through the field. Where is Victor Martins out of all of this? He's down to 7th now. So that's the leading slick-shod car. What's his lap time? 2:36. That's 6 seconds slower than de Wilde. He's about to lose another place. Up the inside goes Gregoire Saucy. So there is Victor Martins thinking, come on, road, dry quicker. Even if there were a bit of a breeze, it would get rid of some of the water off the surface of the track, but there isn't that either. It's just a chilly morning. Downhill, race leader, Hugo de Wilde with still the race having 23 minutes to go, plus that regulation lap at the end. Replay of the start, they see the gap where De Geras' car was. He has joined in from the pit lane. Franco Colapinto could not get the power down at all, struggled away. Martins then locked up, scrabbling into La Source. Here it is from another angle, and out went the red lights. Look, Colapinto gets away, and then up through the gears, just slides. Martins turns out of La Source. Led the race briefly, but it wasn't long before Hugo de Wilde, remember, who in turn has made his way up from the third row, was all over him. Caio Collet, another driver on slicks, falling back into the pack as they plunged downhill. So there, William Anatalo, the Finnish driver, third place. Teammate David Vidal fourth. Fifth, Cas Havercourt behind him. And they are accelerating up now towards Blanchimont with 22.5 still on the clock. Hugo de Wilde being caught by Alex Quinn in the sectors on this lap, so it's going to be the two ardent teammates, first and second, and also the gap coming down between them. Arden's other car of Rachet de Geras, having started from the pits, making up places as best it can as there. Vidalis slides into the bus stop through the right. He's going to go wide at the final element of it, and that might open up the road for Havercourt. Fastest lap, Alex Quinn now. So the British driver closing on his teammate. Over the line, Vidal is on the inside line. To the outside line there is Cas Havercourt, turns his way through. And they drop downhill once again. Tymon van der Helm in the blue car at FA Racing is next. Behind van der Helm should be Gregoire Saucy. That means that Victor Martins is 12.5 seconds now away from the race leader. So even if the road dries, will it dry in time? It's not like Formula 1 where you can quickly come in and make a tyre change. It is, of course, a much longer pit stop. So once you've committed, you've got to stay with it. Saucy there crawling all over the back of Tymon van der Helm. Victor Martins behind them, losing places, losing time, doing his best to stay with them and not stressing anything too much, so he risks going off the road. Van der Helm made a move on the inside there, but it came to naught. And the end of the Cas Havercourt story for lap one, no action. So the stewards say, yeah, one of those things. Battle on. Gregoire Saucy to the outside of Tymon van der Helm. Runs out of road at Bruxelles. Can't get up the inside into the turn 9 Speaker's Corner either. Downhill to the inside goes Cas Havercourt. Bear in mind that he came late into the championship. He only joined in last time out at Barcelona. Vidalis, it was another relatively late arrival on the scene because he missed the opening event at St Monza. But Vidalis has been very impressive this season, and so is Havercourt. Look, crawling all over the back of him. Pulls out, tucks back in again. Into the pit path they come. This is lap number 4. So whereas yesterday it was a race that didn't get very far, today, certainly the first 10 minutes, very lively indeed, thanks to track conditions. Van der Helm to the inside of Havercourt, gets all sideways, saves the slide, but will lose a place. Gregoire Saucy up the inside. Through he goes then into the top 6 now, Gregoire Saucy. That could have spelt disaster for more than just one of them. I thought for a moment they were all going to clatter into a big heap there. Thankfully, we got away with that, but only just. So Gregoire Saucy up into the top 6 now. He has had a podium this year, but he's not been a regular within the top 6, so it's good to have him up there. Cas Havercourt got a 9th and a 5th out of his Barcelona weekend, so going nicely here in the MP Motorsport car in the orange and black colours. He was also 5th yesterday, so Havercourt matching his best, and he's about to gain another place off Vidalis, who's slow out of the bus stop. 3 wide almost now, because lining up to the outside line is Gregoire Saucy. Can he join the mix here? Havercourt's got his nose in front, but he's on the longer line than Vidalis on the inside line. Who will get the place back? Will he, coming out of La Source? Havercourt again runs wide. Past all of them goes Gregoire Saucy, so he's up into 4th place. 5th is Havercourt, down to 6th is Vidalis, 7th is van der Helm. Tymon van der Helm in the blue car, wheel to wheel with Vidalis, down through Eau Rouge, and he's sideways. Can he hang on to it? Yes, he can, kind of. He's back on the racetrack. Vidalis has to almost take evasive action as van der Helm slides towards him. So David Vidalis hangs on to his place. That was close, though. Van der Helm having a massive moment at the foot of Eau Rouge, climbing the other side up through Radion. Saucy versus Havercourt, side by side into Les Combes, and Cas Havercourt round the outside. Is he going to be able to make the move stick? Gregoire Saucy gets forced wide. There's a dry-ish line there, and Havercourt tries to keep his foot in. Brave stuff. Up the curve at Lecombe. Still side by side, down towards Bruxelles. Amazing what a change of track surface can do and a choice of tyre can do to really spice up a race. How about this? Great action going on in this battle now for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th places. Downhill, Gregoire Saucy, and he's chasing after William Alatallo. Now, interestingly, the last lap from Quinn and Alatallo were no better than earlier in the race. So you'd think that as the road might be drying a little bit, it would be helping. I just wonder, therefore, whether their wet tyres are starting to lose their edge and those on slicks might be starting to come back at them. Need to watch Victor Martin's lap because he did a personal best last time. Not as quick as some of the leaders, but a personal best. So are we heading to that tipping point? The last lap for Hugo de Wilde, the leader, was a 2:29. Martin's a 2:32. So we're not there yet, clearly, but we're not that far away as the road dries. And, OK, these drivers' lap times are slow because they're all busy squabbling. But Alex Quinn, 3/10 back on Hugo de Wilde, doing his level best to see whether he can find a way by for the race lead. William Alatallo is rather lonely in 3rd, just gone out of shot. 4th was Cas Havercourt versus David Vidales. And there, number 32, Vidales is falling back further and further in the group now. So David Vidales, the Spanish driver, has he just dropped back behind Victor Martins? Yes, he has. So that is Martins, who is now back up into 7th place. Interestingly, this could be quite a good lap by Victor Martins. Let's look at pace. The leaders go by 2:29 for Quinn. New race leader, Alex Quinn. We didn't see the move, but Alex Quinn is the new race leader ahead of Hugo de Wilde. So he's doing a 2:29, is Alex Quinn up front. 2:31s, 2:32s, 2:30s for those behind. And Martins are 2:31. Yeah, so we're not far now on that tipping point. That's the new race leader. Alex Quinn leads the way. Victor Martins is 16.6 seconds back, who we believe to be the leading driver on slick tyres. But Alex Quinn comes now into Lecombe, fighting the car through. So the new race leader getting away from Hugo de Wilde. And in fact, having taken the advantage away, he was 1.9 seconds clear. There is Quinn down towards Bruxelles. So it's an Arden 1-2 still, but this new order. Race leaders downhill once more, with that margin increasing between the pair of them. So there's William Alatallo. Now he's the man in 3rd place. Gregoire Saucy heading possibly for a podium here because he's inching up onto the back of Alatallo. And then behind you've got Havercourt, and then it is Tijmen van der Helm, and then Victor Martins, who is closing back up onto the tail of this train of cars. He needs to keep away from the wet bits. He needs to find the driest line possible. A driving standards flag for track limits for number 1, Caio Collet, down in 11th place. And remember, it's Formula 1 style. This points for the top 10. Saucy up the inside of Alatallo. Point behind the points element being that Collet needs to outscore Martins, and he's not scoring at all at the moment. Saucy to the outside of Alatallo here into Blanchimont. Can he find a way all the way around the outside? Not there, he can't. Big lock-up by Gregoire Saucy down at the bus stop. Flicks into the right, flicks into the left. And now up towards the timing line they go. So the race leader car, Alex Quinn, 3.6 seconds to the good now. Saucy back to the inside of Alatallo, who goes way too deep into La Source. Left the door wide open, and Havercourt gets past him as well. So a tiny error from Alatallo costs him 2 places. Van der Helm is still there in 6th. Victor Martins is 7th. His last lap was a 2:30, whereas Quinn's was a 2:28 in the lead. So still there's enough wet on the road to preserve the rubber here. $14 minutes on the clock still. There, 93. Gregoire Saucy versus Cas Havercourt. And Havercourt to the outside line, not able to find a way by. Martins almost back up with them now. chipping away all the time. There is Laszlo Toth, who is ahead of David Vidales. Behind him, there is Nicola Marinangeli, and that is Kai Okole having a really torrid race here. Kaz Havercourt pulls out to have a look on the inside of Gregoire Saucy, but to no avail, dropping down towards Bruxelles. There's still 13 minutes, which is almost half the race to go, plus that regulation lap. So there's a long way for them to still look after the tyres if the wet shod cars start to struggle with the tyre life. Into Pouan goes Saucy. There, Kaz Havercourt behind him. Flicks through that double apex left-hander, and now up towards the pit path. So there, as they come down to campus, Tijmen van der Helm ahead of William Alatallo. Alatallo is fading very fast indeed. Now, it looks as though he was on wets early on because he'd worked his way up the order, but now I fear Alatallo is, yes, really struggling, because there is Victor Martins. Now this is intriguing. Slick shod car up alongside and past, one on wets. So Alatallo and also David Vidales, remember, was wet, but he's dropped a long way back early on too. The JD setup may be not ideal because it's both of those cars that are now struggling. Into and out of the bus stop, over the line they come. And there is number 12, so Kaz Havercourt still presses on. Comes out of the hairpin, and now the run once more down the hill. Big sideways moment behind him as Tijmen van der Helm tries to get the power down eagerly, but also was on the wet painted curb at the same time. So the car snapped away from him a little. Victor Martins is behind him now. Martins still doing personal best laps. He's chipping away. He was quicker last time than van der Helm, so the road is almost at that transitional point now. Look at Martins. Slick tyres are working. He's got the temperature in them. The road is drying, and he goes through. So he gains the place. It's not drying out maybe as quickly as some of them expected, because with only 11 minutes to go, Martins is 20 seconds behind the race leader, who is still doing good lap times, Alex Quinn. Martins a bit wide out of Lecombe there into the approach to Bruxelles, but he's keeping Van der Helm behind him. Alatallo is next in the queue as they drop over the brow down to that right-hander. The FA Racing entry just keeping the JD car at bay, that of William Alatallo. So the Finn, whose slippery surface mastery was good early on, fading away as we are approaching the last third of the race now. Alex Quinn remains the race leader, the margin over teammate Hugo de Wilde, 7 seconds. And Alex Quinn, who was second in the opening race at Monza, he was third at Imola, looking for a maiden victory. Very quick single-seater racer as well as GT cars over the past seasons. That is Tijmen van der Helm, who did skip the Manicourt races because he'd hurt himself and wanted to be fully fit for his home races at Zandvoort. And here he's going well as he's almost home circuit, the Benelux track. Down through campus he comes once more. So van der Helm in 5th place. Alex Quinn, though, absolutely out on his own, self-isolating as he comes into the bus stop. This is the end of lap number 8 for him. So Alex Quinn powers up towards the timing line, and as he goes through, breaks the beam, does a lap there in the 2:28. He's been very consistent in the 2:28 bracket. Hugo de Wilde behind him, personal best 2:29. So de Wilde not giving up, is he? He's doing his best to push on. A podium would be a good result for him as well. He got a third out of yesterday's half race. Gregoire Saucy there is third. 4th is Havercourt. 5th is Van der Helm. And 6th, Victor Martins. There you can see the dry line round La Source. Plunge down the hill once again. What was that lap for Martins like? It was a 2 minutes 30. So good, but still not quicker than any of the leading cars. That's the leader, that's Alex Quinn. So you need to be in the 28s or better now to be going quicker than the leader. Quinn there, out of Lecombe. Alex ahead of Hugo de Wilde, his ardent teammate. 6 seconds being the margin. And it does slightly give the impression now that De Wilde is having to settle for that second place. Comes downhill once again. Will push on into the long left of Coulomb. Turn out of the corner. Nail the throttle. And you see the energy being put in by Alex Quinn. Looking after those wet tyres. But are they going to be nursed enough? Because the lap time's certainly not suggesting that he's backing off at all. Thus far, it has been a very impressive drive, though, by the British driver. Turns through once again. And here the run now into Blanchimont through that fast left. Long, swooping curve. He will run it up to the curve, up to the edge, not over it. So obeying track limits. And into the bus stop now. Alex Quinn looking dominant up front. And he's actually done, on this lap, an absolute best in the race in the middle sector. So the pace is still very, very good for him as he comes now up towards the line. Alex Quinn goes by that lap a 2:28.5. There's a driving standards flag being offered up now for Tymon van der Helm for not respecting the track limits, but Alex Quinn has 7 minutes plus a lap of this race still to go. Hugo de Wilde second, 7 seconds back, and then we wait for anybody else to cross the line. Gregoire Saucy only now going past the line, fourth. Cas Havercourt. Where is Victor Martins on the next lap? He is in fifth, and he's just on a 2:29.4. Now that is the best yet from Victor Martins. So we're almost there. He's only about a second shy of the pace of the leader. This is still the wetter part of the track. It was the same yesterday when we had lots of rain. This section took a lot longer to dry, and it was also where spray hung in the air for quite a long time. There's Hugo de Wilde. Second place, the Belgian driver. Look back, Gregoire Saucy there is third, and then fourth and fifth are almost together. Cas Havercourt, look, in the red-nosed car with the yellow mirrors. He checks the mirrors because Victor Martins, the championship leader on his slick tyres, is getting closer and closer all the time. There is Martins, turns in. Just on a personal best within that first sector, almost matching Alex Quinn's pace to that point. Over the brow. Trouble for Martins will be that to do the overtaking he goes offline where it's a bit wetter, where he doesn't have the traction, so he's going to have to be brave. That said, if the cars on wets are starting to lose traction, then the road will open up for him if they slide out wide. So there is Cas Havercourt, fourth. Victor Martins right up behind him. Can Martins get a podium out of this? Where is Kyle Collet? He's up to ninth now. So Collet is into the points. Again, evidence that the slicks are starting to come into their own now. Look, here comes Victor Martins. He's right onto the tail of number 12, the car of Cas Havercourt. Go right, go left through the pith path. Martins going for the drier bits, for the wetter bits to preserve the tyres is Havercourt. Up the curb. Now the run down into the La Source hairpin. Tell you a lie, into the campus right-hander, and then up towards Claude Paul Frere. Right, there you've got running wide up the curb goes the car of Havercourt. Martins, what's the margin? In the first sector, he pulled back 4/10, another 3/10 pull back in the middle of the lap. So Martins is on the tail. Is this where the move comes? Outside line on the first element. What's the inside for the second part? But Victor Martins not able to get up alongside there. Does he have the drive coming out of the corner? You can see how the road is drying, but Martins, as he nails the throttle, slithers out wide. 4.5 minutes on the clock. Alex Quinn goes through doing a 2:28. Victor Martins doing a 2:29. So he's not yet found a way past Cas Havercourt, and he's actually now been stuck there for most of the lap. So he's got the pace, he's caught, but he has not been able to find a way by. Not yet, at least. Havercourt goes through Eau Rouge, climbs the hill. So there is number 93. That is Gregoire Saucy, hanging on to third place for the moment. Kaio Collet, meantime, comes up to have a go at their William Alatallo and also at Laszlo Toth, and he's about to gain 2 places, is he? Alatallo is on the move because he's got past the Hungarian, and Kaio Collet goes to the outside, so Alatallo is back up 1 spot into 7th. And what about Kaio Collet here? He's up into 8th, and he wants to get past Alatallo if he can. He forces Laszlo Toth out wide. So Kaio Collet working his way forward and therefore gaining points. Still not outscoring Martins, which is bad news in the championship then as they drop into the right-hander here of Bruxelles. Downhill heads Kaio Collet, and the man that runs second in the championship is about to get another place here. This will put him 7th, easy on the inside there to go ahead of William Alatallo. That's another example of a car on slicks now, finding much improved pace. It was a 2:28.6 last time for Collet, so he is almost matching the leader's pace. But Quinn has just done the absolute best within the middle sector, and Hugo de Wilde doing a personal best in that middle sector. Still where there's a bit more wet on the road maybe. Gregoire Saucy runs 3rd, 4th Havercourt, 5th Martins. And Victor Martins has lost quite a bit of time this time within the middle sector. 2.5 minutes to go, and a flying lap is just under 2.5 minutes. So the race leader Alex Quinn has just done the fastest lap of the race. He will get 2 more laps out of it, I reckon. His last lap was a 2:28.057. So the clock will just about hit 0, I would think, on this lap, and then there's the regulation lap tagged on at the end. But lap times are coming down once again as the road gets faster. Havercourt versus Martins. Battle is still on. Victor Martins there tries the outside coming into La Source, can't do it. There, number 12 goes crossed up out of Eau Rouge. Kaz Havercourt fighting the car as the wet tires start to lose their edge now. Victor Martins on his slicks, yet again, closes in a straight line. Gregoire Saucy ahead of them is hanging on to 3rd place, but Martins pulls out, has a look. Again, that problem, you've got to get past on the wet line, and that's not where he wants to be, so he slots back in, tries again. Big slide by Havercourt then coming out of Lecombe. Catches it, power on. But Kaz Havercourt then turns through Bruxelles. Drops down the hill into Speaker's Corner. There as the field turns through. Havercourt has done a very good job of defending this place because Martins has the edge at certain parts, but Kaz Havercourt, much less experience in a Formula Renault Tatouage chassis, these 1800cc turbo engine cars, than is Victor Martins. He's hanging onto the place. Bear in mind that Martins was the runner-up in the championship last year, so he's got a whole season of knowledge of these cars. Havercourt's only in his 4th race in one. Amaury Cordial, absolute best 1st sector. Hugo de Wilde, absolute best 2nd sector, interestingly. And there is the race leader, Alex Quinn. Now, I don't think he is going to get the last lap board because he's just going to sneak through, isn't he, before the clock hits 0. So there'll be 2 more laps now. The clock will hit 0 on this lap. Now, look at that, by the skin of his teeth, 4 seconds was the margin. So he'll get the last lap board at the end of this. And he's just done another fastest lap of the race. So Alex Quinn driving brilliantly here, on target for his first Formula Renault Eurocup victory. Hugo de Wilde 2nd, 3rd Gregoire Saucy, and here for 4th place it is still Kaz Havercourt keeping Victor Martins at bay as they make the run up past the pits once again. All crossed up into La Source, Havercourt, and that gives Martins the chance finally to challenge on the inside line. Gets his nose in front now as they plunge down the hill, and Victor Martins has finally done it. Now the intrigue is going to be whether he can pull away. Kaio Collet, though, has done the fastest lap of the race. Collet up into 7th place and a 2:27.0, quicker than the 2:27 of Alex Quinn. So Kaio Collet on slicks, proving he's got the pace. Now what about Martins? Because finally it's clear track space ahead of him as he powers up the hill. So as the race leaders turn through the Les Combes section. Victor Martin still coming under renewed attack from Kaz Havercourt. He's wide up the curb there. Ready now to head into Bruxelles, and Havercourt challenges back on the inside line. Look, can't find a way by there though. Number 20, Alex Quinn, with 10.5 seconds in hand. 1 lap to run at the end of this. Actually, if he'd have backed off a little bit on his previous lap, he would have saved himself a lap and perhaps been even more assured of the victory. But Alex Quinn has driven very impressively in this race, and maintaining the advantage here. Comes now up through Blanchimont. There will be the regulation lap at the end. He's done another absolute best middle sector, so he's absolutely relentless in his pace. Comes now up to Blanchimont. Pushing, pushing, pushing all the while. So there is Quinn. He turns to the bus stop. Down through the gears, set the car up. First of all, you turn right, then you turn left, then you get back on the power. Don't go out too wide over the curb, otherwise the race director will not be amused. And the last lap now for Alex Quinn as he comes across the line in a race in which he has been absolutely outstanding. Hugo de Wilde in second place. And then Gregoire Saucy in third. The lead gap was 10 seconds. The lead gap now is 11.7. That's Tymon van der Helm off the road and back on again. So Kaya Collet up into sixth. Look, Collet's car, just like Martin's, illustrating late race pace, but it's taken too long for the slicks to really start to work. Kaya Collet, the fastest lap of the race last time, a 2:27.0. Could he be in the 26s before the very end, I wonder? Over the line he will come. Yes, 2:26.4. Kaya Collet, new fastest lap of the race. Victor Martins up into fourth place, going after teammate Gregoire Saucy. 3 seconds the margin. William Alatallo there, 8th, 9th. Laszlo Toth in the black Bitec car. Change that around. Up to 8th goes Toth, down to 9th goes Alatallo. They make the run down the hill here. But for the last time, it is Alex Quinn, the race leader, going out of Les Combes, into which here comes Gregoire Saucy. You can see Victor Martins behind him, closing, 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 chipping away at that deficit as they turn into Les Combes this time. There, number 92, powers down the hill. So Victor Martins doing his absolute level best here to try to take a place away from Gregoire Saucy, but is it going to work for him? Let's find out as the cars still have half a lap to run. There is Kaya Collet, who was really struggling when the track was at its wettest, but now has got the most out of those slicks, and he is really charging on. Alex Quinn, however, has driven magnificently. He's on target for a race win here, looking after the rubber, coming up through the Cour Paul Frere and the Arden team, taking that gamble on the tyres and getting it right. So up towards the end of the lap, up towards a maiden Eurocup Formula Renault win, comes then Alex Quinn. Hugo de Wilde, his teammate, in second place. So delight for Arden. Rachid de Geras, I'm afraid, with his damaged car of yesterday, has not shone in this race. But it's a 1-2 for the other Arden entries. The celebrations can begin in a moment, because Alex Quinn now comes into the bus stop. Checkered flag is at the ready, and so the second race of the weekend in the Formula Renault Eurocup is going to be won by Alex Quinn. He comes across the line, flag out, Quinn wins at Spa. Alex Quinn, race winner, and then wait and wait and wait for Hugo de Wilde, who is on his way for second place as he comes up over the line, his best finish of the season. So a third and a second. Good to see Hugo de Wilde back towards the pointy end of the grid. And through he comes then to take second spot. For third, it's going to be just Gregoire Saucy then, ahead of Victor Martins. Over the timing line they go, and Saucy is third, and Victor Martins a 2:25.6 right at the very end for the fastest lap. Another 10 minutes of the race, and the cars on slicks would have been dominant. As it is, fifth, Kaz Havercourt, sixth on his slicks, Kaya Collet, and he goes even quicker than Martins, 2:25.4. So it was the right idea, but the road didn't quite dry out fast enough. And that's always one of the fascinations about races like that, where the track conditions can go either way. Great to watch, and a great drive by Alex Quinn. So the cars turn off the circuit into the pit lane the wrong way, as it were. You can see the delight of Alex Quinn. And there, out of the car he hops. But a brilliant drive that for the British driver and of course the British team, Arden. So excellent, excellent stuff. Alex Quinn looking after the tyres all the way through that race, did a really impressive job. And Hugo de Wilde talking about his speed.
I was like this, impossible to follow you, but I had issue with the brakes, and I was always looking.
You might be able to hear Hugo saying that he had issues with the brakes, but there's no way he could match the pace of Alex Quinn, who really did do an excellent, excellent job there. So Dad in the press room will be busy now. Hugo's father, Olivier de Wilde, busy Belgian journalist and PR man. The drivers now have to be weighed, because there is the weight of the driver and the car combined that are factored into the regulations. And then, if the officials are happy, the drivers can be released to our interview area. There is Gregoire Saucy taking third place, best of the year. And Kyle Collett with that fastest lap of the race coming home in sixth. So from being outside the points at one stage, that's a good result. He'll be very, very pleased indeed to have salvaged something out of the race. So there is Hugo de Wilde. And in a moment he will make his way to our area. Masks on. The Renault officials, of course, being very vigilant. And then they will head to the backdrop. And Alex Quinn, after a great drive, is the race winner. Gemma Scott is there to talk to the drivers, and Alex Quinn, a dominant winner. 11 seconds, that margin. Let's hear from him and Gemma Scott.
Alex, congratulations, your maiden win. And of course, a very, very impressive drive.
Yeah, I mean, on the grid there in 13th, I was like, I've got to do something special here. And I mean, the team made the right choice of the tyres. But I think even compared to other people on wet, we had amazing pace. So thankful to them. And yeah, I can't believe this.
Congratulations, well done.
Thank you.
Bring Hugo in, our second place driver. Hugo, as you came out of the car, you said to Alex, I just couldn't believe your pace.
Yeah, congratulations to him. His pace was really, really good. Of course, I'm a bit disappointed. I would like to have the win for my home race, but I had some issue with the brake bias. But congrats to the team to take the good choice for the tyres. It was quite risky, but it paid off. So yeah, good job, guys.
Certainly, your team manager said he was praying at one point for a little splash of rain to keep those tyres going.
Yeah, it was quite hard to know. On the grid there was some drops of rain, but yeah, we took quite a big risk, but yeah, it pays. So now we are P1, P2, and this guy deserved it a lot.
Well done to the team. Thank you very much. And Gregoire Saucy, who finished in third place. Gregoire, just not quite the pace to reach these guys, but certainly the right choice to be on wets and to get onto the podium there. Congratulations.
Yeah, it was a really good choice with the team, because we start P14, we finished third, so it was really good. And at the start, I just be patient with overtake, and after at the end, it was a bit difficult with to manage the tires. But I am really happy with the team, and thank you to the team, because it was really good
Well
job.
done. Fantastic.
So good to hear from our winning drivers. And they now make their way from Spa to Imola, which will be the next stop in the Formula Renault Eurocup Championship campaign. Alex Quinn will go there as a race winner. Hugo de Wilde second ahead of Gregoire Saucy. Victor Martins ahead of Cas Havercourt. Sixth, Kyle Collett ahead of Tymon van der Helm in seventh. Laszlo Toth eighth, then William Alatalo and Amaury Cordial. 11th was Nicola Marinangeli. Franco Colapinto was 12th ahead of Petr Potacek and Hadrian David. Colapinto, of course, after that dreadful start, remember he was on the front of the grid. So the drivers then, having been interviewed, will shortly, I think, go to the podium and shortly the trophies will be presented to them. So great drive that by Alex Quinn, and fantastic pace that I think surprised even him. Alex Quinn blitzing the opposition, and a really good drive indeed that from the British driver. The Arden team getting a good steer on the weather conditions in that, and coming home victorious. Kaya Colley, though, with the fastest lap, also should get some plaudits, because that too was impressive stuff. But Alex Quinn, a runaway winner. Didn't do anything wrong in that, did he? As he dominated and came home as the overall winner, and also the rookie class winner. So a rookie winning outright, just to make the point. Drivers are going to the podium. Let's have another look at the highlights of that race as the cars blasted away. Franco Colapinto making that awful start, slithering off the line. Victor Martins on his slicks, led from Kaya Colley. They would drop down and then fight back up again towards the end of the race. The field storming downhill. In the background, Spa-Francorchamps going out wide. But he got away with that, and in the end battled through into 5th position. There are the cars with Alex Quinn making progress up on the inside line. Turned his way through. William Alatallo got a place as well, and Spa-Francorchamps involved in that battle pack, which, as the race wore on, would see the drivers on the slick rubber starting to come back into the mix. Number 20, Alex Quinn, 11 seconds clear at the end. No stopping him as the battles raged on behind, with Kaya Colley getting the slick tyres to work eventually, and he was making progress coming up around the outside to gain ground on the way to Les Combes. But up front, Alex Quinn victorious. Alex Quinn race winner as he came through to take the honours in the second race of the weekend and his first victory. And the drivers are there on the podium. Gregoire Saucy for third, Hugo de Wilde for second, and the race winner, the man of the day, Alex Quinn, the British driver, is victorious here at Spa-Francorchamps. It is a very happy Alex Quinn for the British Arden team. For the British team, for the British driver, Arden Alex Quinn, victorious at Spa-Francorchamps, and an excellent result for the British driver, for Gary Horner's team, and the drivers there with the trophies. They will pose for the photographs, and the story continues in under a week's time when they head to Imola, ready for the next chapter in what's been an enthralling Formula Renault Eurocup season. So off the podium they jump, and a very happy, very noisy team. There you have the drivers posing for photographs once more, and Alex Quinn taking his first victory, the first victory for Arden this season. So a very popular result all round. Photographs done. The Hankook winners' hats, and the Arden 1-2, ART third in the team's battle. In fact, ART fourth as well, because it was Saucy ahead of teammate Martins. Alex Quinn wins at Spa. Great racing from Formula Renault Eurocup, and the story continues at Imola next week. For now, from David Addison, it's goodbye.